Welcome to the Dating Kinky Podcast, a cast about love, sex, romance, and kink. I've been talking more about love and romance and non-monogamy lately, and I'm not sure why. It seems like that's the theme right now in my life as I navigate coming out of our quarantine last winter and exploring the world as a vaccinated and boosted human. It's a different world for me than it was before, and I tend to respond to change with resistance and a bit of fear. Or let me clarify, I initially respond to change that I have no control over with resistance and a bit of fear. Me, I love change when I make it happen, and I do a lot, but that's different. Anyway, after nearly 18 months of not playing the field like I used to, getting back out there feels different. I used to find it easy to connect with people for fun and play, and now it seems like people are just more sensitive, maybe, raw, needy, awkward, maybe a combination of all of the above. And for me, when I feel resistance, I think, and I write. So today, I'm deeply feeling this one part of me, and it's a recent conversation that I've had multiple times, really. So I'll share it with you and process it and learn from your replies and thoughts. Which, by the way, thank you for sharing those when you do. You're always welcome to reach out to me from m.datingkinky.com to give feedback or ideas. That's m as in mobile, .datingkinky.com. Hi, I'm polyamorous and monoromantic. You know what I get a lot? I'm curious about you saying you're polyamorous and monoromantic. How does that differ from swinging? Or something to that effect. It's difficult to answer. First, let me define monoromantic for you so we are starting on the same page. Someone who is exclusively romantic with one person. This is my definition. Way back when I was a little baby queer, I was back in the late 80s or early 90s, that term was used in our local LGB center. The T hadn't been added yet, and B was still being hotly debated, even if included. It was used by people with multiple connections, but one main squeeze. You might call it open relationships now, or swinging, or hooking up. And yes, many people live it that way. Now, though, in many of the LGBTQIAA+ world, use monoromantic to mean romantic or feelings of love with just one gender. So someone might be bisexual and open to connections with multiple genders, but they are romantically oriented only towards one gender, which is honestly the more common use, and why I define how I've known the word for decades and how I'm using it to describe myself. Because I'm also polyamorous, which doesn't fit the original role models I had for this term. They were not into loving others beyond their primary relationship, just sexy good times. So back to the question. Someone asked me that on Facebook a few days ago, and I responded. For some, swinging does not include emotional ties or a love component. The focus is on the physical. Others are more flexible with that. I do have long-term loves in my life. They become a sort of lover family over the years, and we travel together, prioritize connection, and more. I only feel the romance or twitterpation for one person at a time historically, but the other parts of loving people and connecting with them in a loving way are present. It's like I feel romantic love, but I don't fall in love with more than one person at a time. It's romantic love, but it's not romance to me, which is weird. We don't have the words in English, I don't think, or at least I don't know the words. I could say that I only get NRE with one person at a time. NRE is new relationship energy. You could call it a crush, infatuation, obsession, mania. I often say it's being in love, not just loving, because to me, those are two different things. For me, that NRE then lasts forever with that one person, but never with others overlapping. That might clarify a bit. I'm still romantically loving with others, but that frenetic feeling, that need to share that love and my feelings, that constant desire hits only one target, until the arrow is loosed again. And I'll be honest, this both simplifies and complicates my life. Not getting NRE with each new playmate is wonderful because I'm unlikely to let existing relationships wane to deep dive into a new one. I'm able to honor the people in my life pretty much uninterrupted by new attractions. On the other side of things, it sets me apart from others. The new people I date can get a bit weirded out that I don't feel that NRE, even though I say I really like them. And they can feel left out or not wanted. The people in my life, well, they do get NRE, and being on the other side of it happening when I don't really understand it is an interesting experience. Whether it's a new partner getting NRE for me or an existing partner getting NRE for another. But that's how humans do, right? We essentially stumble our way through the world, bumping into people, and some of them stick around and some, most, don't. And we find the right matches as we go, mostly by trial and error. I've had a lot of trials, and I've made a lot of errors. But learning this, knowing this about me, it makes a difference, and I can be open and honest and clear in my communications and in setting my expectations. And it's not just because I'm non-monogamous, because when I was living a monogamous life, I still sought out those deeper than friendship connections. It's how I'm built. I didn't go for the sexy parts because, well, I'd given a promise and I never cheated. And even seeking out those other connections, I never once got a crush on someone outside of my existing relationship, even when it was failing. Why? I don't know. Because I had happily married monogamous friends who got NRE with their friends or new crushes or whatever and were totally monogamous. And most non-monogamous people I know do the NRE thing regularly and have plans for how it will disrupt their lives, or at least are sort of prepared for it. So I don't think this is something that depends on whether you choose to love many or just one. What are your thoughts? Are you monogamous or non-monogamous? Based on my definition, have you been in your life monoromantic, or do you experience multiple romantic experiences at once? And based on your experiences, have you partnered or been friends with someone who is the opposite of you? How did you connect with their experience and understand it? Thank you for joining me today. If you loved this episode, please share it with others who would enjoy it. And please do join me on our new apps available in the Google Play and Apple App Stores. Dating Kinky. It's built by Kinksters, for Kinksters, poly, queer, trans folk, and anyone not quite vanilla, and it's free. Find me on FetLife as Nookie Notes, and on Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, Facebook, and Medium as Dating Kinky. We are on Instagram as Dating Kinky Official, all one word. Have a kinky day, and I'll catch you next episode.